Many of you love this idea of trying to figure out why you are the way you are. You love this. It's that thing about you. You love to figure out why. Why are you like this? Why do I do this? Well, you know why I do that, don't you? Well, you know why I do it. And it's something that we always think about. You know why? Well, I did it because, is my mother, is my father. Well, it was when I was young. When I was young, well, I was bullied. Why? Well, why? See, why? Why always explains something that happened. Obviously. You could ask, why are you doing this? You could ask, why will you do something in the future? But for the most part, we always love to say why. And many of you find and try to find through a series of means, whether it's spirituality, religion, something to seek some type of control, but answers. And why is one of the biggest things. Why do you think that is? Why is there a spike in crime? Why is there more obesity? Why? It's one of the most irrelevant questions ever. And there might have been a little bit of a glitch at first when I first started, because I noticed sometimes you don't want to hear the reasons for it, but there might have been a glitch. So you might have thought, oh, I missed something. We just kind of came in after the fact. But you'll catch up. The question is the irrelevance of why. And I don't care why. Why is the biggest waste of time there is. Why do you think that? I don't know why. I don't know. I have a friend. We have many friends. And I have a friend who is in therapy. How many here in therapy? Anybody in therapy? You don't have to answer the question unless you want to. Because I think it's something which is very good. I think it's something which is important. I think a lot of times it is a good thing, but in many respects, sometimes therapy for a lot of people it is a complete and total waste of time. Have you ever found yourself saying, what am I accomplishing with this? Is this a friend? Am I accomplishing a friend? If it's a good therapist, if it's good talk therapy, if they really know what they're doing, it can help you kind of give insights and that sort of thing. But we love this Freudian stuff. Why? Why is that? Why do you act like that? Why? Why is there a fentanyl problem? Why is there an overdose problem? Why is there this? Why? Who cares? Who cares? One of the biggest pieces of therapy, and therapists themselves do not like to do this, because they believe, frankly, that their job is not problem solving, it is analytical. Why, why problems and how are you going to deal with it? Maybe. But I have, and I give one of my friends who was absolutely one of the most, I think, troubled people. And he always talks about his therapy. Now, here's the catch behind that. The reason you can't say that therapy doesn't work because he's like that, because the people that therapy tends to attract are people who are troubled. There you go. There were attempts on many occasions to make corollaries between certain violent crimes and psychotropic medication. The people who committed certain crimes were under the influence of or were using or withdrawing from psychotropic medication. SSRIs, which is depressives and that sort of thing. Now, the problem with that is that the sample that you're dealing with might be more prone to doing something which might be problematic when 99% of them don't, because of the fact of the underlying cause. That's why they would be taking psychotropic medication. So yes, you're going to see more of an instance of people who commit crimes who might be either in psychiatric care or being treated because of an underlying problem, which probably is the source of this. So it's hard to figure out, why is that? But when you ask people why, it's fantastic. Why is there such an obesity problem? This is my favorite. Ask somebody this question, why? Now, why is okay if you're going to correct it? For example, people love to say, well, we're not active enough. Okay, so therefore the answer is being more active. Is that it? Is that the answer? That might be helpful. Why? Less activity, become more active, fix the problem. Obesity is worse than anything you can imagine. The term almost sounds like something almost, what am I trying to say? It sounds almost cosmetic. Like, oh, you'll look better. No. We're not talking about getting into that dress in the back of your closet. That's not what we're talking about. It's a health part, especially fat that is deposited around organs and midriff. Anyway, so why? Why is that? I love those. You learn as much about people from the, well, the reason why, well, when we were kids, we're always running around. Really, is that it? You think that's it? No, we weren't. We weren't? No. Why is there anything? I don't know. And the problem is, when you deal with why, you waste time. And then you get all caught up in the why and you give up. Here's what I'm going to ask you. What are you going to do to fix it? You're going to stop this? Stop it. I don't care why you're doing this. Stop it. Do you want to stop this or don't you want to stop this? If you want to stop this, how are you going to stop it? I don't care why you do this. I don't care why. It means nothing to me. Whatever. You're doing something that's problematic. You're being troubled, or maybe, I'm a therapist. I'm pretend. I have a degree in psychology, which means nothing. I'm not licensed. I'm not please don't listen to me. But I think what a lot of times people, what do they call those people? Not organizers, life coach. I want to be your life coach. That's my favorite. That just means common sense being an adult. And it's always easy to help somebody else. Here's my life coach. Here's my first thing. What are you going to do to fix this? You want to talk about it all day long? I don't care. I don't care why you do. I don't care. I don't care about your father, your parents, your neighborhood, where you were born. I don't care. What do you want? Why? What are you going to do to fix this? What are you going to do to fix this? If you went to me and you said, listen, I cannot see. I'm visually impaired because of something, and I need either learn how to use a cane or a dog or something to help me ambulate. And if I spend my time talking about, well, you know why this? Yes, I know why this happened. Let's talk about that day when you lost your sight. No, we're not talking about that. I don't care about that. I want to fix this. You know why your car is doing that, don't you? No, why? Well, there's a problem with the computer. There's a particular chip. Can you fix this? No. But I want you to know why it's doing that. What are you doing? I don't care about why. Why? Why did this person commit this crime? Why did the person do this? Is whenever you get into motivational crimes. This is what happens when you have to prove motivation. Motivation. I don't know. Motivation. Introspection is one of the things which is so incredibly fascinating, and how so many people miss the point. Why are you doing something? That's the point. Why won't you stop this? Why haven't you taken an effective means of stopping this behavior? Why? That's the why. What are you waiting for? There's a what. Who cares? I love, Mrs. Allen and I were listening to old interviews between Dave, this is from 1980, so 43 years ago, between David Susskind and Gore Vidal about the Jimmy Carter, Reagan, John Adams. So applicable to today. So, just as relevant today as whatever. And why? Why is it? Why is this? And we're doing this all the time. Pick a situation in the news that bothers you. Pick a situation. Pick something, whatever it is, irrespective of your political party or whatever, and ask yourself, tell me something that bothers you, whatever it is. Now, invariably, you will say, well, why is that? Why did it get to be like this? What are you going to do to fix it? Whether it's crime, climate change, diversity, education, infrastructure, whatever it is, what are you going to do about it? What? That has been the problem that I've always had with people who are spiritual, whether I was a kid and it was either a religious ceremony or it was something, therapeutic. Tell me what I do. Tell me what I do to fix this. I don't care anymore about what. If I don't do it anymore, it's moot. You understand this? You understand this? What do I do to fix it? Now, in my private channel, which I have listed here, I've gone through an analysis yet again of a couple of things. And I want to tell you what is happening and why things are changing drastically. But first, I want to tell you about something. Here's what you can do regarding your beloved immune system that everybody loves to talk about. You know, the immune system, Z-Stack. This is simple. Here's something you can do. You get 15% off. You go to Z-Stack. Use my link and that sort of thing. People love to talk about this all the time. Well, I'm in a cleansing. You're in a cleansing? Yes, I'm in a cleansing. You're in a cleansing? What are you cleansing? I don't know. It's a cleansing. What does that mean? I'm taking this green stuff. Why are you doing? I don't know. Well, that's good. You cleanse all yourself. Here's something that makes complete and total sense. If you can tell me anything wrong with Z, zinc, flavonoids, specifically quercetin, and D3 in a combination, if you can tell me anything wrong with it, especially in view of the diet that you're doing, you're not. This is one of those things that just makes so much. It's like seatbelts, it's like insurance, and it takes a long time for your body just to say, okay, there it is. I love when people with all kinds of, my God, with vitamins, they make all these claims. I felt so good. You feel energy with this? Yeah, this is vitamin C, zinc, energy. I took it. I went up. Look, I'm not bragging like that. I'm not saying making claims that aren't true. I'm telling you this makes the most sense. And I'm telling you right now, and a lot of people are telling you, Z-Stack is perfect. Read this. I always tell you this. Don't take my word for it. Just go and simply one in your mouth every day, preferably with a meal, and you're fine. What do you want? Use this. Z-Stack. Remember, nobody. Oh, and with all due respect to our good friends in the medical profession, don't expect anything from them. When was the last time they ever said, "Hey, when are you gonna take something? Are you eating enough? Jerry, can I ask something? Yeah, doc. Are you eating right? What are you eating? What am I eating? They just. That's all I'm telling you. Next, I don't have to tell you how, with all that is happening in your world, and how perilous things are, especially with food availability. We talk about it. If you're like me, you love these Instagram. Oh my God, you go to Instagram and you can watch all these people making this stuff and you can have mix in your masa, nixtamalization, and you can make your own. Wow, my Oaxacan. Wow, I got my sriracha sauce. The moment that something goes wrong, the moment that you have an environmental collapse, the problem that there's a supply chain disorder, if there's something environmental, something that is natural, when food changes and when stores close, I don't have to tell you what that means. It means simply this. You are going to wish you paid attention now and that you took heed to preparewithlionel.com. That's all I'm saying.
Attack on the Dole food?
On the what?
Dole, D-O-L-E, pineapples and salad.
Really? What is that?
Cyber attack. Shut down their facilities.
Cyber attack on Dole.
Expect shortages like the salads in the bags.
Salads in the bags and that sort of thing. Listen, Preparewithlionel.com. $250 off of a 3-month supply. I'm telling you, it makes sense. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to force you. Nobody's going to come to your house and make you do this. This makes complete and total sense. Millions of people have done it. We've done it. It makes sense. It doesn't make you some lunatic, eschatological freak. It's just wise. Now, as I was saying, something is happening here. What I notice, and where all my energy is what is changing. That's all I care about. I don't care anything about the past. The past is interesting. I like it as a hobby. History is an important thing and would be great if only it were true. I am reading right now everything, and I do not go merely to one particular source. I go to them all. And I spend more time than you can imagine going to websites and going to news sources that one would think are contrary to what I believe, because everybody thinks they know what I believe in. To quote the line about Nelson Rockefeller, he was too liberal to be a Republican and too conservative to be a Democrat. There is a balance here that is so perfect and so prophetic that I cannot explain to you. And if you don't recognize immediately how that makes sense, I don't know what to tell you. But I notice differences. I'm saying it's going to rain. Something's up. Somebody moves something. Wait a minute, this. I see this. I see things. There's something changing. And when you look at something, don't merely look at a story and say, why is that? Number one, again, why? I don't care about the news media in and of itself. It means nothing to me. What they do, to me, it's another industry. It's like the furniture. Have you ever gone to a furniture, some big outlet store? You ever seen that? We went to one time out there in the West, and he had these. It was one of the biggest stores. I was fascinated by how much. Wow. And then I started noticing they're all over the place. It's 3, 4, 5, huge, or as we say in Hell's Kitchen, huge. It was incredible. It was incredible. That was interesting. I didn't dwell on it. So I kind of like some industries, but I don't care about the media industry other than what they're saying and why. Because certain people get certain marching orders from certain people depending upon the particular type of thing you're doing. If you're ESPN, you're going to have to, you cannot veer from your audience. If you are of a particular media format, whether you call it left or right, whether it's same thing as if it's music, if it's country versus AOC or not AOC, AOR, album. We used to call it AOR, album oriented rock or all over the road. But these have names for now. We don't even have radio stations, but that's kind of sort of interesting. That's interesting. I think that's something to be looking at. But I'm telling you right now, and I want you to listen very carefully. Ask yourself, why are we seeing certain things? Why are we seeing certain things? Why are certain things being said? 2024 is coming up. Sit back and watch. What are you noticing? What is happening? And the most interesting thing that is happening is to the changing aspect of the media world itself. I sit back and I think, by virtue of how lucky I am to have been born when I did, I am able to remember transitions that were just fascinating. Fascinating transitions. I've been through that. AM from FM to cassette to 8-track to album to this. I remember from TV, the advent of the computer, the website, dial-ups, Wi-Fi, everything. And I'm seeing something that's happening right now. Are you noticing the rise of digital, streaming, citizen, civilian, alternative, foreign media? All collective. It is like something I have never seen ever. And you're going to see, remember this. Number one, you're going to see big media outlets saying, we don't need these people anymore. We don't need, there is not one person who is bringing in this media that we cannot change with someone else. We can't make the payroll anymore. It doesn't make any sense. We have stars popping up in the firmament of news every single day. We saw something that was interesting. They had someone who was called, I'm not going to mention the network, but they were called a multimedia journalist. Somebody who did a good job, who was out and takes their phone, this is a mouse, but takes their iPhone and goes out and says, I'm here at the derailment. I'm here at the fire. I'm here at the instance. I'm here at the concert. I'm here at the event. And I've got my phone, and that's it. And that's it. And I'm standing here telling you what's going on. And I'm not a professional, and it's not a great shot, and I'm not mic'd up, and there's no, that little clapper board, and it's just me. There was a fellow I saw who was doing something. I thought, this is one of the worst. I think he was in his bathroom. In his bathroom. We can see the shower curtain behind it. This guy had almost 2 million views talking about, I don't even know what. People today are saying, I don't care about your studio. Please. People who spend all this money on studios, it's like, what are you doing? Nobody cares about this. So what's happening? You're going to see on media, we're talking to a multimedia independent journalist who comes and tell me what happened. And they're going to come and they're going to speak very colloquially. They're going to speak using idioms that you understand. They're going to just speak to you like regular people do. That's it. And they're going to talk to you. And they're going to say, have you heard true crime? True crime, just listen to podcasting. I've got a friend of mine who was in the radio business who actually thinks you have to have a radio voice to be in radio. And I'm telling him today, I say, you don't understand, there's no radio. It doesn't exist. Radio's everywhere. You can laugh all you want. There are people right now who do things. I see stuff. If you cannot see what's happening, I don't know what to tell you. And let me tell you what else is happening. When the Enlightenment takes place, when people say, you know what, I'm going to be, now listen carefully, I'm going to be issue connected, not party connected. There are people who are going to say, hello, how are you? I'd like to talk to you. Do you have one thing and one thing only you're interested in? Yes. Is there one issue? Maybe two, but one in particular that's got you going. You maybe as a parent, you as a student, you as an Italian, you as an African. I mean, somebody from Africa, somebody from Italy. Do you as a woman, as an adult? Do you have somebody who, as a retiree, do you have one issue? Yes. One issue, one thing that you're passionate about. And if anybody deals with that, then you're going to pay attention. Yes, I want to talk to you about that. Because what happens is, if you're like most people, you're going to say, I'm interested in maybe one, two things. They say, great, well, you've got this party or this party, and 98% of everything in either party, you say, but I don't care about that, or I don't like those people, or I don't like what's being said, or that's not it. No, I'm going to talk about this. Sorry. You can talk about it, but there's this version, and then there's the opposite in this version. Well, I want to talk about a blend of those two. There is no blend. Excuse me. You have this or this. Do you want to have bread for lunch or meat? No sandwich. None. We don't combine. That's where voters are. They're saying, but I don't understand this. Everybody's got something. Maybe one, maybe two things where you say, it's just really important. And I want to talk to you about that. And they want somebody to say hi. my name is so-and-so, I'm an independent or whatever it is, and I don't really care about these people, but here's what we need to do. Retirees, mothers, students, men, women, whatever it is. This is the issue that's going on. It might be a particular hobby. Maybe it's whatever. The way it's being done is you say, okay, I'm going to find out about this. I'm interested in Social Security. I'm interested in UFOs. Whatever it is. Where do you go? Well, as far as network goes, well, they talk about these subjects, but in two drastically different ways. This group wants to cut Social Security. This, whatever. I'm generalizing. You can, well, that's not it. That's not what I want. But this person does it. This person does it. And what social media have, it's a plural noun, provided is a cacophony, a plenitude of subjects you cannot imagine. At what level do you want to hear the subject? The hardest thing for people to do, and I know what I'm talking about, is to evolve. You don't know when to stick to what you're good at. We have a restaurant in New York called Peter Luger's. It's a steakhouse. And the original one's in Williamsburg. People say they love it. I haven't been in years, obviously, but it's very good. And people talk about it. They talk about it romantically. Peter Luger's is the best. The New York Times gave it, 0 stars? Something happened. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Okay. If I bought Peter Luger's, what would I do? Well, here's what I would do. Nothing. I wouldn't change one thing. One waiter, one picture on the wall, nothing. Because what made this what it was is what it was. What makes it what it is, rather, is what it was. So if you change it, if you try to add, well, let's go for some, no, don't go vegan. No. They don't come here for that. No. Yeah, but you're Whole Foods. No. Meat, bacon, marrow, meat, tallow. No, that's what this is. Do not fool with them. This is what they want. Now, you want to get experimental? Have a knockoff. Peter Luger Cafe, Peter Luger Bistro, Peter Luger, West, or give it a name. But don't destroy something to add on to it. Because that audience is still there. And that's what the radio people will tell you. They'll say, there's enough of people out there who still want it. Great. Are they thinking about what's next? No. We're seeing in New York something which is very interesting. Speaking of food, because everybody likes to talk about food. The deli, the delicatessen, it's not what it used to be. There were so many of them. And now they're just... Carnegie closed. Katz is open. Lower East Side. But that's because they kind of own the building and it's an institution and will always be there. But the deli business, people are just... Things are just... To go in and do that, it's still there. Don't get me wrong. There's always a market for it. But it's not what it used to be because people are just eating differently. They just do. So what am I saying this for? There right now is a brand new person. And that's the one that I want to go after. I have no interest in dealing with anybody who is from the old provincial kind of news, whatever, that I was raised on, that my friends work at. I'm not interested in that. I don't see it as being of any relevance. It's boring. There's something that is so exciting right now, and I feel it, and I know it's happening. And when you read the stories, find out how you're seeing this desperate attempt to make conventional permanent. Also, look what's happening with social media platforms, the CDA, Supreme Court, courts. Watch where it's going. Pay attention to this. Don't make any opinions. Don't opine. Watch where this is going. This is happening for a reason. Know the ins and outs of this. That's it. Notice this. This is huge. The most important thing in our life today, if I had to just reduce it to one thing, social media. That's it. Everything else you can talk about. Social media fuels everything. With social media, I can change mountains. I can change anything. It is more powerful than anything. And you can talk to people and say, well, I don't go on TikTok. I don't have, fine. Thank you very much. That's terrific. People said that last week with you. I don't understand this, Daytona 500. Really? You don't understand it? Are you seeing what's happening here? So I don't want to talk to people like that. I'm not interested. Look at what's changing. You are not going to see, in less than 5 years, I see a couple of years, you're going to see things that are just, wait until you see the media platform change. First of all, everything's going to be on paywall. Don't you think, honey? Everything. Paywall. Everything. Everything. Free TV, what does that mean? If it's free, it's going to be like, I don't care about that. And you'll do it because you'll be able to focus in on what you want. They'll make the paying, consistent with, but everybody's going to pay for something. There's just no way. That's number one. Everything.
Especially if you see this is a little separate. The entertainment industry, they're reporting over 11 billion was lost.
In the entertainment business, they're reporting over 11 billion was lost. If they say 11 billion, it was 50 billion. It's over with. Movies, theaters, Broadway does not know what to do. Broadway is living in the past. Broadway thinks that it's a different thing. Why do I say this? Broadway is still a certain number of theaters. Broadway is not Broadway all over the world. Broadway is, I can point to Broadway. Broadway, off-Broadway, but it's just a number of theaters. It's here in New York. People do come. So they're always going to be filled with something. It kind of changes. So it's different. You know what I mean? It's a different world versus entertainment. But Broadway is living in the past. And also Broadway thinks that sometimes you can politicize entertainment, which is a different story we'll talk about on my private channel. In the meantime, though, you're seeing drastic changes. You're seeing newspapers. What is the point of that? Are there plants? Do you ever find yourself looking at will you see a newspaper? Will you see it?
We took a class trip in the 8th grade to the New York Times on 43rd, the plant.
Wow. Mrs. L went in the 8th grade to the New York Times plant on 43rd Street. Do you go someplace where we have a shoe guy in the neighborhood, shoe repair, shoe shine, that kind of thing, and there's a newspaper. It's the only time I see it. It's the only time I ever even physically touch it. And I've already seen this. It's a day old. But it's still there. Now, that's beyond it. That's moot. Look at what's happening. Look what's happening regarding politics. I can't even begin to tell you what that's about. I can't even begin to tell you what that's about. My dream would be to create the candidate, similar to whatever it is, that we create on social media. Nothing but memes. And here's the best. I would love one day for there to be, I don't want your money, I want your vote. I want there to be something where do you know how much money people spend on TV ads? Here in New York in particular, if you run in New Jersey, you got to come to New York City with the old days, New York City, to buy TV time for New Jersey. It was expensive. If you're in Philly, South Jersey, Philly, that kind of thing, you got to blend it too. It's weird. Eventually they're going to say, there is no TV. We don't have this on TV. We don't have these. Paid for by. I'm so-and-so and I approve this ad. Nobody cares about that. I want an image. I'll never forget something. One of the most important events in my life, professional wrestling, number one. Number two was a guy I knew who was in the beer industry. He sold beer, wholesale. And he asked me, he said, let me ask you something. He said, You ever see a Budweiser commercial? Say, oh, they're everywhere. Budweiser, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is everything. Coca-Cola said, we're going to give you a sign. Hey, you got a new business? Yeah. You want a sign up there? Chico's grocery? Yep. We'll give you the sign. Got to have the Coca-Cola. I don't care. You're going to give me the sign? I'm going to give you the sign. Brilliant. Okay. Budweiser. You know what Budweiser never had on any of its ads? Beer. Nobody's drinking the beer. They have people on volleyball, Clydesdales, surfing, attitude, happy. Nobody's eating the beer. Nothing. Had nothing to do with that. I love that. See, Mad Men is at my heart. Bernays is at my heart. I want people to understand. I want to go out and I want to get people. I'm going to say, I want to target somebody nobody's ever seen. Normal. There was a term years ago, I think it was in the silent majority. Might have been, it was in Nixon, I believe. The silent majority. It's normal. Why do I say that? Who doesn't respond to normal? Everybody does. So I'm fooling you into thinking that I'm going after you, but I just gave you. You know what I want? I want to talk to a rare species. The normal, the concerned, the involved, the smart. That's me. Is it really? Okay. If you say so. And I want to talk to you. Not those other people. Because everybody thinks they're not those other people. They're in the middle. They're smart. I'm smart. I know what's going on. They don't understand. These people are crazy. And I want everybody to think I'm talking to them. And I want my candidate, my movement to be like Budweiser. I want it to be obvious. And a little bit different. A little kind of, you want to be able to say, like, I want to not run with the crowd. I want to be a little different. Everybody loves it. I want to be kind of cool. I want to be one of the cool people. Now, I know exactly how to speak. One time, I spoke before a group of people. I said, who are they? Who are these people? I mean, I knew, but I said, who are they? They go, oh, they're Chamber of Commerce. I said, oh, Chamber of Commerce. What are they, small business? Say no more. I went out and I told them exactly what they wanted to hear. I believed it, but it's what they wanted to hear. I said, I don't think people understand how difficult it is to run a business. I don't think people understand it. You ever notice that? And do you ever see how people say, I think I'm going to open a business? Really? Do you know what that is? My favorite is when somebody opens up a restaurant. That's a nightmare. Restaurant has nothing to do with the food. It's always about this guy didn't show up, this broke down, we got problems with this, they got the inspector. Anyway, you talk to people and you tell them. And they say, this guy's fantastic. Now, if I could have gone to the next room, I could have, whatever it is. You tell people what they want to hear. And you don't lie. Because I believe that. I believe a little bit what everybody's thinking. I think there are some groups I obviously could not speak with for a variety of reasons. I think same thing for you. Sometimes it would be too much. You would slip. Here's something which is very important too. You never can say something you don't believe. It'll slip. I've heard people on talk radio, when there was talk radio, try to pretend there's something and it just didn't work. It was phony because they didn't realize it. Did you ever try to stand up straight? I'm gonna straighten up my posture. Good. Stand up for a moment. Within a minute, you're back to the way you were. You don't even realize it. You're just slouching again. You don't, it's unnatural. We're in the brink right now of a psychological revolution. And there are two different kinds of people. People who know what I'm talking about and people who don't. Everything comes down to your personality. Everything. We looked in this little town and we were looking at hair salons. Which one would you go to? You're driving down the street. Which one do you want to go to? They're all over the place. I said, I want that one. Why? Bright. Everybody was uniformed and there was a lot of people in there. This other one looked like from the 50s. That's it. That simple. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know anything about who owned what, but I want that one. That's the one I like. I love to watch ads, political ads, statements. What do people want? Some of the most interesting people who've ever run in my lifetime were Bernie Sanders, Ron Paul, and you might not remember this, but when there were some, I like the independents. I always liked them. They have a different kind of message versus the institutional types. And what do? You've got a message. You've got something to say. What is it? What is it? How do I describe you? I know this group inside and out. Believe me. But I can't win an election by speaking to you. I've got to speak to a bigger crowd. I've got to make you feel like I have to give you kind of code words. You say, okay, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about me. But I can't lose you. But you're not most people. If I speak to the country the way I speak to you, I'm dead. I'm through. They don't know. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. Am I lying? Of course not. But I understand how people think, the psychology behind it. Everything you think, every single thing is about the psychology. I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, remember the Vietnam War? Yeah. I said, nothing changes. It's the same thing. War is war is war is war is war. It's the same thing. What do you think, sir? What do you think, sir? Now, some of your comments are fantastic. I must say this. Here we go. Government isn't needed for humans. I don't know what that means. Sounds good, but you're not gonna go very far with that one. It's good. I mean, it sounds good. It sounds like something. That's a nice little tweet. I'm not trying to make fun of it, but it's not true. That's not true. Okay. Let me see this. Somebody wrote Art Pepin. Art Pepin was a Budweiser distributor in the Tampa area. Propaganda. Propaganda. What is propaganda? Propaganda is from Gregory the Vatican. It's called propagation of the faith. To propagate. Propaganda is a negative connotation. Propaganda is, it's not what you think. Someone writes, no censorship. You can't live without censorship. You can't live in no censorship. There's no such thing as that. You don't want to live in a world with no censorship. Believe me. This idea that, no. Never speak in terms of bumper sticker, echo chamber, cookie cutter, kind of playbook rhetoric. It sounds great, but it's not true. It's not true. It sounds interesting, but it's not. Somebody said self-driving AI Daytona. Stop right there. That might be one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. I never thought of this until you said this right now. If artificial intelligence and AGI is to such an extent that one day the whole notion of driving is completely removed from human to that of machine, why would you want to go see something? But then you can say, what about horse racing? Horse racing is huge too. Nobody rides horses. I mean, we do, but we don't really. So, but that's one of the best ones ever. Absolutely brilliant. Singularity in a binary structure. Do you know what singularity is? There's two people you got to listen to: Ben Goertzel and Ray Kurzweil. And these are the George Washington and Abraham Lincoln of AI. And like anything else, it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful concept with so much potential. Damage, it's not even funny. Let me tell you about this show we saw called Heavy Petting, which I'll tell you about in a moment. It was interesting. I will tell you about this in a moment. Before I forget, there was something, by the way, which is so interesting, and I talk to people about this, and I get this look. EMP Shield is one of our sponsors, and electromagnetic pulse is something that it's so interesting that people have you've never heard it before? Never heard of it. Do you know what it does? No. Have you done any research of it? No. And I send people stuff. I say, well, I send them my link to EMP Shield. I say, would you just look at this? They're a sponsor. And they have a lot of great FAQs. They don't read it. It's like they're not interested in this. It's the darndest thing. It's one of those things where I don't understand why people don't really want to think about that, but it's something that I think about, and a whole lot of folks. So EMP Shield, that is the link right now. Go and check this out and see for yourself. This makes sense. Or maybe you can get away with, you don't really need stuff. I mean, do you really need seatbelts? Seriously? Do you know anybody? I don't know anybody who's ever been in a serious accident. I really don't. And I don't know anybody. Maybe I've heard a couple people who killed. So what do we need seatbelts for? Not a good idea. Not good to think that. Not good to think. Right? When you think about stuff, you think, I don't really know. I don't know. Do you know any kids who really suffered from overdose of pills? Well, from like aspirin? Well, what do we need these child things for? Well, I don't want to go back to that. We may not need, I kind of like that security. That's the way I look at things. EMP Shield makes the most sense. And when it comes to, oh my God, when it comes to sleeping, MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. I don't know how to say this any more than this, but it is so magnificently obvious. MyPillow.com. Just go and look at it. Just go look at it. Look at it right now. Just look at what we're talking about. Look at this. Look at the buy one get one free. The pillow bathrobe closeout sale. When you hear closeout or overstock sale, run to this. Run to this. Think I'm kidding about Christmas? Just around the corner. Buy them now. Store them. Don't take up a lot of space. Get it out of the way. And when they have right now blanket sales, mattress sales, nobody's ever said like, oh my God, pillows? Try them. Think about this. All your gifts are already outdated. How about some socks? No. Mattress sleep systems, mattress toppers, etc., etc., etc. Go there, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. And if you desire, if you need, and if you demand being more OG with a phone number, I understand completely. The number is, where is it? Yes, 800-645-4965. 800-645-4965. Okay. A great point about Chat GPT. Nobody understands. Nobody understands Chat GPT. Nobody understands any of this. Nobody understands. Let me see. Nobody understands Chat GPT. Let me see. I think we automatically. That was a very, very good point about that. Artificial intelligence is something that I can always tell. I have people, we have two friends in particular, they make these faces. It's a look of complete and blank disconnect. I think you know who I'm talking about. Just blank. No idea. A couple of them, one in particular. Yet they think they're so cool. I would be less than honest if I didn't tell you that I just laid it on. When I throw stuff at them that is so arcane, recondite, and they look at me. And I thought to myself, dear God, they never one time asked, what does that mean? What is that? And when I talked about Chat GPT or AI, AGI, the notion of this, it absolutely, positively, they simply do not understand anything. They don't understand anything. They just don't get it. And you know what? And I feel sorry for them. I really do. And I do my best trying not to make them feel I don't want them to feel silly, but I'm kind of tired of people not knowing anymore what's going on. So let me just leave you with this. My friends, there's a change coming. It is in areas you cannot imagine, you cannot believe, you cannot even begin to understand. Watch this very, very carefully. Also, I hope you got yesterday's newsletter that I put out, which was a beaut. It was very good. And I'm going to do a brand new one. I'm going to give you that link. Please sign up for that. There's no obligation whatsoever. Just do it. It makes a lot of sense. Also, let me remind you that if you want to find out what I'm talking about, involving a lot of things that are in the news and headlines that are fascinating. Do you know about special grand juries? Do you know how they work? Do you know the truth behind that? They're not telling you. I talk about this in greater detail. Let me also tell you right now that Mrs. L, I tell you that she has a channel, which is a YouTube channel, which I respectfully ask for you to listen to and watch and subscribe to. It is simply exquisite. And also make sure you follow her on Twitter immediately, as in instanter, and do such. And that is that. And my friends, I wish you the best of glorious days. Thank you so much. Remember, always introspection. Don't ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I feel like this? Ask yourself, how am I going to change it? How do I change this behavior? How do I change what I'm doing? I'm going to stop doing this. Not why do you smoke? How do you stop smoking? What are you going to do to stop smoking? Not why am I so sedentary? What are you going to do to change that? I don't care why. I'm sure there's a good reason, but nobody cares about the good reason. When you go to an emergency room, you don't want the doctor to sit back and say, you know what? I think I know why you're having that heart attack. I don't care why. Fix it. Address it. Save my life. Yeah, but I think it probably was a sedentary lifestyle, probably diet, and most probably some type of familial predisposition. Doc, we just lost him. What? While you were discussing why, you could have been doing something to fix the problem. Stop asking why. Nobody cares. It's interesting. It's kind of academic, but for the most part, nobody cares. Fix it now. That's all. Fix it. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. We'll be back tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. Please make sure you like the video. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel and all that stuff. Until then, it's your new best friend, Lionel, reminding you the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Ta-ta.